So Sid, we last did our update for our supporters and viewers in September. We're now in mid-October.
Yeah.
What progress has been made on the Bishop Street stand?
Well, I'm about to explain to you what's happened since. All the piling has been completed. When we come, it was still being done. That's been completed, which now enables us now to get on with the reinforcement. And if you look all the way down, all this reinforcing mesh is going in. You can see the pipe work. We're having to pump the concrete here. This was another one of the problems. You know, that's a long way to bring. You can't bring it in a barrow. You can't get it on off the mixer. So it's coming in a concrete pump, which is very impressive when they're working.
What challenges have you since encountered? New challenges?
Well, it's almost weekly, but from the last meeting with SAG, it's quite clear, and I think we referred to it on the Friday show, didn't we, that it's now an all-seater, all due to sight lines. We have lost the back row, so it will not have another terrace for the back. It will end up level. We will use that space, but we can't use it for seated spectators because of the sight line. The other thing we talked about doing is, as you look through here, forget the hoarding, the roof slopes down, so that effectively affects the sight line. So we're thinking about lifting it up from that lattice girder to improve it. If we don't need to do it, I won't do it. But I have ways of overcoming. So every time we come across another challenge, and this is all coming from SAG, and you know what they're involved in, they know what they're doing, and they're there to protect the public. We can't make any guesswork. We can't assume anything. Everything has to be approved for that. Hence the reason why we're seated. Hence the reason why we're going to lose a back row of seating. I have offered to lift that if that helps. But where they have been very helpful, there's been a change in rules on the high ball. Up in the air, you're expected to be able to follow that flight. Well, they've given us a dispensation there because this stand, you wouldn't get past here. Really high ball, they've done away with that. So we're fine, we're all right, we're just losing one row at the back. Kink that will help only if needed. It's really just to do with the ground conditions that we've had to overcome on a daily basis. But we're here now, and this is what I tried to encourage people last time. Yes, we've done the piling. We now put in this. When this is in, we can then put the walls in that support the terracing. You can't use the steelwork. This is the point. You can only use built off of that. So we're making a new ground, very simply. We're creating new ground because although your shot will show the structural steelwork, we cannot come off of that.
So the big news for now is that it was proposed to be all standing in here. It's now going to be all seated.
Yes.
How does that affect capacity when eventually it's done?
It doesn't affect it that much in reality. So it's not about capacity. It was something that John wanted to do. He felt there was a move now in the modern game for people to stand. It's like returning back into 50 years. And his personal choice was standing.
So when do you expect this to have structural integrity?
When that's done, that keys the whole thing. And from that comes the structural steelwork, which is supporting the formwork, which will form the terracing. Again, it'll be concrete pumped in. So it's either going to be concrete walls supporting it or steelwork. Thank goodness there's some steel in it, because that's the only thing I do. But there will be some steel at this level. At that level, it's too high. It's going to come with walls.
Any other significant updates, Sid?
Yes, the other thing I was just alluding to there was, although they gave us a dispensation on the highball, and that was, they didn't have to do, I mean, I appreciate that. They are making us go back to the correct green guide for rise and go. So we're having to now overcoat what we've got here, which is a pain. I was hoping not to have to do that. But again, you're back to SAG. They've been very helpful where they can be. Where they felt they couldn't be, we've got to overcome and give them what they need. But it was always on the card, so it's nothing new. I just hope we wouldn't have to do it, because that's going to be a pain.
In terms of timeframes, I know you need to manage expectations.
It keeps going out, doesn't it? I don't know, I'm still an optimist, and the guys have never stopped working. These guys started at the beginning of July. They've not stopped, they've been here every day. And we're seeing that now. Nobody could before we issued that film, and that was the importance of that film at that stage. And that's why this is important. This is what's happened in the intervening period. And next time we'll do a film, we'll be up here, okay? And then I'll be a bit clearer as to how long we're going to be finishing.
Last time we went down and saw the toilets, the old toilets. What's happening there? Is there any latest there?
A bit more visual in there now, but nothing can happen in there till all this concrete work is done. I'm pleased to say that Stephen Clark's now volunteered to get involved with the development or the rebuild of the toilets, because that was way, way, way above what I was ever going to do. But it's an important and integral part of the stand. So he's been and had a look. We all know what we're doing, but we can't come on until this other work's done.
One thing we didn't mention last time in the previous update was about the side of this stadium.
Yes.
And the side of the Bishop Street stand, which we're on now, to
Yes.
the right as we look out onto the Ian Greaves stand, and about 6 or 7 metres away from the scoreboard. Could something take place here in terms of renovation?
Well, of course, this was one of the things we first looked at, and of course I did the one after the game last Saturday, and one of the questions, and it's come up several times, why aren't we extending both ways? As you know, we're only extending to the right. The reason why, and this, if you get a view of this, this really shows you how narrow this is becoming. We're on a tapering site, so this is the narrowest point of the site. So there's no way we could put anything of any value here, but we have got existing terracing, and we're now going to submit this to SAG whether there's any way that we can return this to standing.
You said in the previous update that you were expecting that new challenges would be expected, but since we last spoke, are you satisfied with how things are going here on the whole?
Oh, absolutely. No, we know, disappointed we didn't get a little bit more dispensation from SAG, but they can only give what they can give. We now know all of the problems that we have to overcome, and that's important. We only thought we knew, we now know.